Hello and welcome to this lesson on my song Don't Call Pluto A Planet. And I wrote this song because I was asked to write a space song for some Key Stage 1 children at one of my schools. And I've always been interested in the solar system, and when I was a kid Pluto was considered to be the 9th planet of the solar system. It was the furthest one out, if you like. But in 2006 some scientists got together and decided poor old Pluto was too small to be considered a planet and was demoted to being a dwarf planet or a planetoid. So I thought I'd write a song about poor old Pluto, and this is it. It only uses 3 chords, and you can do it in 2 ways. You can do it with the easy chords and the advanced chords. I'm going to show you the easy chords first and the easy way of playing it, and then later on in this video you'll see the more advanced chords and the more advanced way of playing the song. So first of all, I'm going to show you the 3 chords in this song, really close up. So here is the easy C chord. First finger behind the first fret of the B string, and you strum only the 3 strings nearest the floor. Sounds like this. Be very careful you don't touch the E string or the G string. Make sure your finger is only on that B string. To change to G7, move the first finger down to the first fret of the E string, the string nearest the floor, strum the same 3 strings. So in the chorus it's only C to G7 backwards and forwards, very, very simple. The F chord, a little bit harder. You put your first finger where it goes for the C chord, tuck the second finger behind the first fret of the E string, so you might have to move your first finger down a little bit to get that in, and the third finger goes behind the second fret of the G string, and again you only strum those 3 strings. You might be able to flatten your first finger over the E and the B and put your second finger on the G string, but if you're a young person you might find that pretty hard, so probably 3 separate fingers is the way to go. So those are the chords: C or C major, G7, and F or F major. Okay, so those are the chords. First of all, we have to think about the chorus. It says at the top of the page, play 2 down strums on each chord. So basically, when you sing Mercury, you do C, C. You go Mercury, and you strum the 3 strings nearest the floor. You've got to be very careful with C. You only touch the B string. If your index finger touches the G, or more importantly the E, you'll get that kind of sound out of the E string. So make sure your finger's really tipped up, really arched. You need a nice, short, clean fingernail. And you only strum the 3 strings nearest the floor, as I say. When you get to Venus, you change to G7, move the finger over to the first string, first fret, 2 down strums, and then you can see a C chord on Earth, Mars, and on the next line orbiting. So you do 2 down strums on each of those. So far, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, orbiting, and then round that, another C chord there. I'm sure you're getting the idea. On Sun you've got G7 and another G7. So you go Sun, carrying on, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune's the farthest one from the Sun. Obviously there are only 2 chords in this chorus, so you're simply changing backwards and forwards. When we get into the verse, it's a little bit harder because you have the F chord. So the verse, we used to call Pluto a planet, out there in the void. Now we don't call Pluto a planet, we call it a planetoid. So 2 down strums on each chord, pretty straightforward. And you do the chorus again, the verse, the chorus, the verse, and you end with 2 choruses. Very basic, very easy song. Now with the easy versions of those chords, of course you're a bit limited on what you can strum. It's a bit hard to do much more than just go down, 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 down. If you're very careful you might be able to go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So instead of going down, down, go down, down, up, add another little upstroke to it. Quite hard to do when you're only playing 3 strings. So let's move on to the hard way of doing the song now, and I'm going to show you the 3 harder versions of those three chords now. Here are the advanced versions of the chords. Here's the C chord. Right, the first finger goes where it went for the easy version, first fret of the B string, second finger goes behind the second fret of the D string, third finger goes behind the third fret of the A string, and you strum the 5 strings nearest the floor, arching very carefully. You might even be able to do this, an even bigger version of the chord, so you can play 6 strings. Put your third finger up onto the bass E string, 3rd fret, and put your little finger where your third finger was. So it's a 4-fingered chord, and you strum all 6 strings. But it's not really necessary, and I think most people just do that 3-fingered C. At the G7, the first finger goes where it went for the easy version, first fret of the E string. Bit of a stretch this one. Second finger, second fret of the A string, third finger, third fret of the bass E string. So you need quite long fingers for this, quite big hands to do this. So if you're a very young person, this is probably not for you, and you strum all 6 strings. Okay, and if you think of the G7 as a stretched out C, like that, then it's not a bad way of thinking about it. The F chord, one of the hardest chords on the guitar. First finger goes flat over the E and the B strings, 1st fret. Second finger, 2nd fret of the G string, third finger, 3rd fret of the D string, and you strum the 4 strings nearest the floor. Like the C chord, you can beef that up a little bit. You can put your third finger over onto the A string, 3rd fret, and your little finger where your third finger was, and you can strum 5 strings. And if you've got very big hands like me, you might even be able to get your thumb on this 1st fret of the bass E string and play all 6 strings. But that's, if you're a beginner, that's quite a long way down the road. That 3-fingered F, absolutely fine. So those are the advanced chords: C major, G7 and F major, or F. So C or C major, G7, F or F major. You might like to start off with a little bass run-up. Corny old run-up, isn't it? 3rd fret of the bass E string, 3rd finger, open A, 2nd fret of the A string. Typical run-up from a G to a C, isn't it? And then you're into the song. Now, with these bigger versions of the chords, you don't have to worry too much about which strings you're strumming, so you can sort of let rip a little bit more if you like. Do that down, down, up strum I suggested. The interesting thing about the C and the G7 is that the G7 is like a stretched out C, isn't it? The first finger goes down to the E string, and the third finger comes up to the other E string, and the second finger moves over to the A string. So it's like stretching the C out, isn't it? And the F chord, obviously on the F chord you do have to be careful to only strum 4 strings. Instead of playing that second C chord, do a single strum on the first C chord and do your bass run up to take you into the chorus again. The 2 choruses on the end of the song, in between them, again do that run up. So the last line of that one but last chorus will be Neptune's the farthest one from the sun, Mercury, Venus. And very wristy, very relaxed. And it'll just be a nice little song to sing and play. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that.